Okay, boy, it's still Sunday before, and I got another analogy just came up with. Here it's like 8 o'clock on Sunday night, and I really like this one, and I'm going to combine it here. So hear me out. So what we're trying to do here at Tune Digs is kind of like quilting, okay? To use a fee, follow me here. I'm telling you, follow me. You know how quilts work? You know, women get together and they take all these scraps and they sew. Well, we're not. It's not quite like that, but it is scraps. Think of our collections and who we are with what we've accumulated over decades as scraps on their own, and they really have no value to others isolated and standing on their own. It's up to us, which is great because, of course, they have value because they fit our taste and we've spent our treasure, our money to buy all this stuff. But when we gather and we get together and we weave and sit around in our little circles, and online inside of Tune Digs, this all turns into something special. It turns into something lasting. It turns into something worthwhile. It turns into a legacy piece. Kind of like these quilts in the old days used to be. They were legacy pieces. They had stories embedded in them, and that were passed on when people would get married back in the colonial days and back in the early America West. I mean, that was part of our culture. It was part of European culture. I'm sure it was parts of other cultures throughout the world. There's a reason why, because embedded in the quilts are these stories and legacies that get passed on. So that's kind of what we're doing here too. And it's also part of this bigger thing that's going on right now in a way. The pundits and the journalists call it the sharing economy. And it's become a real big part of our experience right now, with companies like Airbnb and Uber and Lyft in the car area, TaskRabbit, and for a lot of us really familiar with Kickstarter. This is all part of the sharing company where we're sharing these assets that aren't being used and that are underutilized, and then repurposing them and finding ways to generate interest and income or whatever they are. And this is kind of like that in a way. We have these underutilized and underused quote unquote assets, that are part of our identities, our music identities, and they're just sort of standing there on their own. We have them, in many cases, many, many thousands of albums and CDs and hard drives filled with stuff. And what happens to that legacy? Most of us are baby boomers, and maybe a little bit younger, and many probably retired. And I think we're at the age, I'm getting ready to turn 53 next month. And we're all struggling with these classic sort of midlife areas on the arc of our lives where we're dealing with, okay, what is the meaning here? What is the purpose? What am I doing here as I live forward? And we have many parts of our lives. Music is just obviously one component. We have families and children and grandchildren, and volunteer work that we're doing in our local communities or in a larger, broader sense. But with the music and who we are with this, what is the legacy that we're going to be leaving? That's what I'm trying to do here. And I want us to do and have it grow into something much larger, because this is just a first step. It's version 1, and it's not together. It's not all like ready to roll when it starts on June 15th. We're going to be venturing out, pioneering like what people in the West did, leaving New York and leaving Chicago and leaving Pennsylvania and going out west. With creating our little wagon trails on the internet here, and trying to figure this out. And at every step, though, you are going to be getting great, immense value. This is not a substantial investment by any stretch of the imagination relative to what you'll be accumulating, what you'll be receiving, what you'll also be sharing, hopefully, and certainly with the bonuses as they stand on their own, that's in far excess of anything. So I'm not trying to sell anything really hard, because you were chosen for a reason as far as I could discern, because you exhibited these characteristics of being concerned about legacy, about having an open mind, with experiencing new types of musics, wanting to plumb the depths, going deeper with just mainstream kind of music, or just on a more superficial level being a music geek. You want to explore the lost and the unknown. You've shown those tendencies or in conversations that you've had with me on the phone or an email, or participation in the grab bag programs over the last couple of years, and other factors. So there's a reason why. Again, my list is over 8,000 people, and I only sent this out to about a little less than 400. So we'll see where it goes. I have a certain minimum that I want to reach in order to make this work, but it's also limited in terms of not having too many, because then it doesn't work. Or we're gonna figure that out. So anyway, I hope you listen to this all the way through, because I think this idea of quilting is kind of what we're going to be stepping into, and it's going to be, as we said in my hometown of Boston, wicked cool, or wicked pissa cool, for anybody who has ever heard that term before. Hopefully you're laughing. If you have no idea what wicked pissa cool means, it means freaking awesome, off the charts awesome. Anyway, that's that video.